All right, welcome everybody. I've got one of my favorite people in all of British Columbia here. I got Kyle Green. Man, how are you?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, dude. We were just laughing about, the time difference between Thailand and Victoria. As most of you guys know, like I just got back from speaking in Thailand at Cool People, Cool Places about like how to build a recession-proof portfolio. And I'm still not 100% there on game, and Kyle caught me in it.
Yeah.
But cool, man. Thank you so much for being here. You have a special announcement,
Yeah.
to come. Unfortunately, the dates don't work. But man, you've got a second book launch coming up. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So it's called Rockstar Real Estate Investing. We have a book launch coming out on April 2nd. It's really good for somebody who's new to real estate investing and really wants to learn, from the ground up how to start with 0 properties or your first or maybe your second one. And also some strategies for some of our more seasoned investors who want to start to expand the idea. So we talk a lot about different strategies. I'm sure we'll probably talk and magically hit on a couple during our conversation here. Here's the book, Rockstar Real Estate Investing. The books literally got dropped off 20 minutes ago. So these are fresh and
are we the first people to see it then?
Oh yeah, literally, yeah. Like I was just taking photos right before this to figure out how I'm going to post it on social media and here are the books. So literally, that's the first time I've shown anybody the book.
That is amazing, man.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that. That was going to be my question that we were talking about before that I hid from you.
Oh yeah.
So I'm stoked to launch this to our community. Like you've been a big part of our meetup for a long time now, and you've watched the growth that's happened. You've watched the impact that we've been able to make as a team of all of our sponsors and us on people's lives. Like whether you are starting at 0 and using the items that you read in the book to build your portfolio, to build income, to build wealth, or maybe you're second in, or maybe you're like already there and you've got 6 or a dozen different properties, but you still need to maximize what you've got, right? Yeah. And so I've got a couple of really cool questions that I've got for you that I think are going to help everybody watching this quick video. Real quick, first off, like I said, you've been a part of our meetup for a long time, man. What is it about, like I can tell you, but what is it about your team that you really love, and why do you guys stand out so much between all other brokers out there who work with investors?
Yeah, so I've been working with real estate investors for about out of my 13, it's coming out of my 13 years, man. Can't believe it. So this November will be 13 years, and about 11 and a half or 12 of those years has been focused primarily on working with investors. So 80% of my client base are real estate investors, and in 2017, I was the number 18 broker in all of Canada for volume. So we do a lot of volume, and most of that is with real estate investors. Last year, they're coming out the results pretty soon, but we definitely know we're in the top 75, and we're probably a little bit higher than we were the previous year. So, as far as having the expertise and knowledge and understanding how to set up a portfolio, we're there. One of the things that we've really worked on over the last year has been improving our team. So we're up to 7 plus me. And as of next Monday, actually, we have 2 new hires starting. Nice. So we're growing even more. So there's going to be 10 of us crammed in this office soon. And one of the other things we worked on last year when we implemented a new system starting, I think it was June was our launch last year, is a new system to enhance our efficiencies. So everybody in our office is in a role that suits their skill set the best and allows us to turn files around. Last week we had a file that was a bit of a rush. Somebody wanted to write an offer that night on a property. We talked to him at, I think it was about 3 o'clock, sent him the list of what we needed at about 3:15. The client was pretty quick. He sent it back at 4:30. We had it underwritten at 5 o'clock. I called him at 5:15 and he's pre-approved at 5:30.
Wow.
Yeah. So we can turn files fast, and it helps having everybody focusing on just one role, because all you do is just you click through it, right? It's kind of like an assembly line from that perspective, and it helps us be more efficient, but everybody's doing what they're best at. And that allows, too, for me to touch and work on every single file, because I still handle the qualifications and figuring out, what is your best strategy and long-term game plan, and should you buy in a company name or a personal name, and should you buy a residence first or a rental first, and those type of discussions. So having my team pick up, a lot of the back end work, and then I can deal with that aspect of things, allows me to still be involved in every file.
That's incredible, man. And like, as real estate investors, time is of the essence, right? Especially in a hot market, like anywhere in BC, up and down the coast, all across Canada, and the States. There's so many different hot markets. And, if we can work with somebody like yourself who can turn stuff around, quicker than anybody else, man, you're the person I want to work with.
Totally.
As long as we got game too, so that we can be on the same speed level. But cool. I appreciate you sharing that, and congratulations on the growth that you've gone through the last couple of years. Your new hire coming up. I love the new office. We've been there a couple of times. It's not exactly new. It's a couple of years, I guess, or a year old now.
Couple of years, yeah. 2.5, I guess.
Cool, bro. Along those lines, have you read the book Traction?
It's on my list. I actually wrote that book down. I just joined a group called EO, Entrepreneurials Organization, and somebody had just suggested that, and I've heard that before, actually. So I have my little notepad that I keep with me at all times, and I wrote that book down. So I got to read it.
Great minds think alike. My notepad and
I can't believe you just bailed. There it is. Yeah, cool.
Dude, epic book. And it's all about trying to put the right people in the right seats for the right company, for the right mission.
Yeah.
You'll love it.
What I do actually now for hiring is there's something called a DISC personality profile test. So you fit into kind of 4 different categories, and I get, before I hire anybody, I actually have them fill it in online and bring it with them to the interview. And that way I know what type of person they are before I hire them, because I find that finding the right personality fit for the role is way more important than the resume and the previous job experience, because you can always train somebody to teach them more about the role. But somebody who's more introverted, and naturally you shouldn't be pushing them into a sales position, right? And somebody who's naturally an extrovert probably isn't going to be super organized in general. So you'll find that different people fit different roles better.
And it helps you communicate with them. Yeah, and it helps you communicate with them as well, because as an introvert, you're going to want a different type of communication style than an extrovert.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to quickly wrap this around into how this can work with real estate investors. And a big piece of our business is we work with joint ventures, right? And so along the same lines, if you like, we have disc tests, or like, it's called a PI, I think, our version. And if you get, potential partners that you're working with, whether it's like contractors or like money partners or different team members that you're about to work with to do the same type of test, it'll show you like how connected you already are, or the types of communication styles that you want to do, or that you will approach with. So it's not just for, people who are building an empire and a business and like having, dozens of employees, but it can also interact and implement and really affect your own personal business if you're a shop of one, right?
Cool. Yeah.
Rocking an investment portfolio, working with JVs, I want my JV to go through the same personality test, so I know if we're going to butt heads or if we're going to mesh real well, and how we should communicate together, because communication is a huge piece of any business and just life in general. But let's dive in here. I got 2 real kind of cool questions that I really wanted to get through.
Yeah.
I know that you're a busy dude. You got the tie on. You're in the big city. And, and you're a busy man, so thank you for the time. But a lot of people we work with, and a lot of people just in BC in general, have acquired a lot of equity over, the boom that we've gone through the last few years. So a big piece of here on the island is we have a lot of baby boomers who are retired. With being retired, you may or may not have a high income level. Mm-hmm. You might have $1 million sitting in equity in the house that you've lived in for the last 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, right? Yeah. You won't be able to qualify for a second home because you don't have the income to support it. So coming from your professional level, what advice would you give to them on like how to refinance that, and or what's the best strategy to make that equity work for them to give better returns?
Yep, for sure. There's a couple of ways of accessing the equity. Number one that we usually try to do first, if the client has a high net worth, is try to go with a net worth program. So very few lenders have net worth programs, but there's a handful. And one lender actually reintroduced a net worth program after getting rid of one, I think 5 years ago. And so we always try that first because that's usually the cheapest way of getting access to capital. One of the strategies we look at, it can still be challenging for individuals with low personal income to qualify for residential real estate. So a lot of our clients now are switching into commercial real estate. So commercial real estate, the income of the individual is less important on the application. The income produced by the asset is much more important. So they look at what's called a DCR, debt coverage ratio. They usually want to see that the income compared to all of the expenses, including the mortgage they're going to be granting you, et cetera. Usually the income should be 1.25 times all of the expenses. And that can mean larger down payments, but if you're retired and you have a larger nest egg, then you do have the liquid cash to be able to do that. So commercial lending is one area. Joint ventures is another area too, and I know that you guys do a lot of joint ventures with other investors within your group, Stephen. And I really do think that the joint ventures is a way of continuing to grow without needing to find the restrictions of the residential lending, which are very, very rigid right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you say commercial, are you talking like I should go buy a retail shop and like sell sporting equipment, or are you talking multifamily? Are you talking like storage units, or what type of is good for, you know, what I'll call like the average Joe investor?
Basically, everything you listed technically would be commercial. Maybe I should tell you what isn't commercial. If it's residential and it's 4 units or less, then that's residential. Basically, everything else would be commercial. So retail strip mall, owning your own location, a warehouse, a multifamily plex. So if it's 5+ units, that would be multifamily. You know, any type of business that you're purchasing, those are all commercial deals.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a whole other topic that we should get into, is like the commercial world, right? A lot of people focus on the residential side because it's what they know, it's what they can touch, it's what they can feel, it's, you know, the easy part of the education, right? So I think that maybe we can do another call, dive in a little bit deeper onto, you know, a couple of core strategies on the commercial side.
Yeah.
The next question I want to get to is something that we've used frequently is the BRRRR method, which is buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat, right?
Yeah.
There is a similar type method that you probably do a lot of, which is the Mortgage Plus?
Yeah.
Right, where you get, maybe you can explain that better, and then maybe you can talk about like what the differences are and who should do one or the other, or if there's a better one.
Yeah, sure. So it's called Purchase Plus Improvements. There's also one called Refinance Plus Improvements, which is similar. It's just that you already own it, you're refinancing it. So what happens is the bank is going to reimburse you for the work that you put into the property, essentially. Let's say that you buy something for $500,000 and you're going to put 50 grand of work into it. The bank would give you if it's a rental, up to 80% financing on the total improved value of 550. Now, one key is that it's always just going to be the purchase price plus costs. And that's one potential downside, and I'll get into that when I talk about the other way of doing things. But they're going to finance your costs, so your purchase price plus the costs. You have to do the work, and then once you're done all the work, then they reimburse you for the money. So they're actually going to have 50 grand set aside with the lawyer or notary that you dealt with. And once you can prove that all the work is done, then you get the funds released to you. The benefit of this program is that the approval is bundled all in one. So you get the approval for the purchase, but also for the improvements, and all that's done in advance. So you know that you are actually going to be able to get the money once the renos are complete. The downside to the product, or maybe I should talk about the other way of doing it, which is just buying. Yeah, go ahead.
Quick question on that. You said that, you know, that extra 50K is part of the qualification process. So me as a home buyer, do I have to qualify for just the 500 or the 550?
The 550 purchase price. So that would be a mortgage of 440 if you're getting rental property, so 80% of the value. Yeah. Okay. So you qualify for all of that now, and then that way, before you even know if you're buying it, before you remove subjects, you know, yes, I'm getting financing, not just for the purchase price, but also for all the improvements too.
Cool.
Yeah. Now, if you do it the other way around, you're just buying it and then renovating and then refinancing later. The upside or the benefit to doing it this way is that you're actually able to potentially access the increase to the value of the property. If you put money, let's say you put 50 grand into it, but now it's worth 600, you can refinance up to 80% of 600. Now, how frequently an appraiser is going to say that the property is actually worth 600 is a completely different scenario. And maybe I have a lot of clients. I had one even just today where the realtor says, yeah, the client's going to put 30 grand of work into this place and it's going to be worth 75 grand more than it is today. And maybe it will be, but in my experience, a lot of the time the appraisers are the ones that are going to be telling the bank what the property's worth. A lot of the time they won't agree with that valuation. They'll say, sure, you put 30 grand into it. They think it's going to be worth 30 grand more or maybe 40 grand more. It's pretty hard to see that type of increase. Another thing you have to watch out for is some banks do not allow you to refinance, particularly within the first year of owning the property. And sometimes they will only want to refinance and allow you to access the purchase price plus what you put into it. So they don't like to allow people to use their houses like ATM machines, where if the house value just grows because the market is going up, they don't want to refinance somebody and say, oh, because you bought it at 500, a year later, it magically became worth 600. They don't want to just allow you to pull out that extra 80% of that increase of the value.
Right.
So there's definitely pros and cons to each side. If you're confident that you can get financing, you can qualify to refinance it, and make sure that you're with a lender that may allow you to refinance it earlier. Some lenders are more lax with that and will allow you to refinance within a shorter period of time, like 3 or 6 months. Some lenders will allow it, they need a year. So as long as you're with the right lender and you're pretty sure that you're going to qualify, then you can do it the refinance route. But some people just like to know that they're definitely going to get some of their money back. And that's where you go to the purchase plus.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for that breakout. And you said something right at the end that I really wanted to highlight. I don't know what the percentage of buyers is for who goes to just the bank and who goes to a broker. But you said, like, if you're going to do these types of strategies, you need to know the right lender to work with, right?
Yeah.
And that's not my responsibility. I'm not going to go and dive into 100 different lenders. That's the beauty of working with somebody like you, who already has those types of relationships, already knows those strategies, and like, instead of taking that strategy and shopping it to 100 different people, you already know the 3 or 4 people that this is going to work really well with, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you for that. I think we're going to wrap up kind of quickly here. Is there, first off, you have a book launch.
Yeah.
Coming up. I don't think you gave the date of that.
Yeah. April 2nd. It's at 6:30 until about 9:30, and it's at the Earls in Yaletown in Vancouver. We're renting up the upstairs. Is a nice the nice area up there. $10 gets you, and the first 100 people to show up get a signed copy of the book, and there'll be appetizers, and you get a drink ticket. But then after that, you have to pay for your own drinks, because we know some of you, Steve, I'm looking at you, will definitely abuse anything other than cash bar. So so we're only covering one drink. But the book launch, we're really looking forward to it. And again, April 2nd. And you can go to my website or reach out to us to get more information. We do have something that we've posted on Facebook too for that.
Cool. We'll include that kind of link and the details in some of the show notes here. And you definitely don't want to have an open bar, because if you did, you'd get more of those falls that I went through.
I know. I saw that. Yeah, that was great. That was great. So graceful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm practicing gratitude, and with that comes grace. It's easy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant, man. Is there any kind of closing remarks you want to give, or any kind of like last minute value you want to provide to people watching?
The only thing I'll mention is that I touched on this very briefly earlier about the net worth programs, but one lender just came out with a new net worth program about a week ago, and it's really, really good. Most of the lenders that have had net worth programs in the past only allow for you to have some latitude when you're doing something with your residence. This lender is actually allowing you to have latitude with your debt servicing, even if you're buying rental properties, and it goes up to 80% of the value of the property for residence or rental properties, as long as you meet certain criteria. So it's a really, really cool program. We're definitely, going through and putting together some material. We're going to be marketing it to our database just to let people know what's going on with it. And if anybody has any questions, just reach out to us. We can give you more information, but it's one of the best. Like, we were shocked to see it, because a lot of lenders are actually getting rid of these programs, and then to see a lender come out with a new one that's really, really good, a little bit surprising. So if you're stuck in that situation where you have a lot of a high net worth and you can't qualify for mortgages, you may qualify for that program.
That's brilliant, because there's a lot of people out there that we talk to on a regular basis who are in exactly that position, and I've never been able to be like, yeah, here's the route for you. Like, now I have that. Thank you for sharing.
Exactly.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to our meetup last month. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I was
okay. Thailand, I know. Yeah.
I was away.
For you.
you continue to deliver value to us, to myself and Randy, to our community here in Victoria, and like the audience you have in Vancouver, and you're part of other groups as well. Like you're just one of the smartest people I know. I love hanging out with you, dude. You're just a great personality and a great human being. So keep that stuff moving. And if anybody wants to get a hold of you or your team to either look into what their qualifying is, or buy a property, or like learn, what's the best way they can connect with you?
www.greenmortgageteam.ca.
www.greenmortgageteam.ca.
Yep, that's it.
Brilliant, man. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, you too. Nice to see you.
Sweet, bro.
All right, awesome.